Hi, Zizaran here with another video, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experiences in the Badger Private League. I'm gonna keep this talk to mostly just, just this sum up of my experience and stuff, and then I think I'm gonna make a separate video for the build I played for the BPL. We'll brush a little bit on it in this video too, so there will be some overlap. First, let's talk a little bit about what Badger Private League is. So BPL is basically a race where everybody can enter. There is limited slots. I think it's 1,800 people, 3 teams of 600. And there's like a different theme every time. For this one, it was split into 3 different factions: Druids, Knights, and Mercenaries. And then they have different ascendancies. So for example, the Druids had Deadeye, Pathfinder, Hierophant, Ascendant, Raider, Inquisitor, and Guardian. Knights had Elementalist, Occultist, Berserker, Ascendant, Necromancer, Juggernaut, Chieftain, and Mercenaries had Slayer, Champion, Saboteur, Ascendant, Gladiator, Assassin, and Trickster. So there's, fairly balanced builds on each one. There's things you can do and things you can't. Like, obviously, everybody has Ascendant, so you could do with some greater difficulty brute force quite a lot of builds on every side just because you have Ascendant. And then there are loads of different goals. And you can go to badgerleague.com, that's the website I'm on right now, and you can check out the things. So my team, the Knights, lost by like 1,500 points. The Druids won very, very close between the Druids and Mercenaries. And you can see like there's different points. There's mean or median level, I can't remember which one they went with. Level 1760, 1760, and then we're on 1700. Delve, we're ahead of, we were very ahead for a long time. The Delve team did really, really well. And then Druids knocked it out of the park. I think it was like the average level of top 5 in Delve was the average level. Bosses, which we were very far behind on, and then replicas, gems, set points, and lab jewels. So very, very interesting setup, right? There's a lot of things to go for here. So for the uniques, for example, you would have to finish the entire set of the Uber Elder, right? So we were missing Disintegrator, just never dropped. We did a lot for the Maven, for example. We were very lucky. Maven's chest was the first item that dropped for us, and it's incredibly rare. We actually didn't think other people were going to be able to finish it. So many cool things like that to go for. So I leveled up with Dampen, Havoc, Sai, and Nugi. And a lot of, so we were going to, the plan was to be like the boss killers, right? We were going to try to get like some of the first, and a lot of the team fed us things, so we like very early got Tabulas. It was a very, very cool experience, and we did manage to get the maps very early. I think we were a minute behind the other team, so I think we were second to maps, and I think we did it in around 3 hours. It was very fast. It was very different because on hardcore I would take a little bit more time, and not surprisingly more, like not a large amount more, but I would be a lot more prepared. I would normally go into maps with 3k life, sometimes 4k life on hardcore, and on softcore I went into maps with 1.6k life, and I was just being bulldozed by ROAs left, right, and center. Like any map with ROAs, I was like, I guess I'll die then. I paid for 6 portals, I'm gonna use them. And it was very rough. I hadn't practiced the build, I wasn't familiar with it, and frankly, it was not a good choice. Kind of this entire league, I don't feel like I've really found a build that really clicks with me, except Spectral Shield Throw. That really has like the speed and decent boss killing capability that I like. But other than that, not that many builds like, Assassin Blade Blast, Chieftain Blade Blast, DD, or SRS that I've, like SRS is a little harder to pull off this league as well. So I don't personally feel like I have that many builds that click with me. It's not that there aren't good builds, because there are. Obviously less than normal, I would say, but still, like, there's just not that many that really click with me, and that definitely affected the race for me. And I would say I made a poor choice. So I also didn't research the build enough. And the worst part was, it was starting to feel okay. I got a snake bite, and I was very fast into like 13s, and I was sustaining maps better than most people. I'm very good at being lucky, so that works out well for me. I felt like things were going pretty okay, and I started feeling a very hard stop in like 13, 14s. I was like, now I'm probably dying more than I should, and I'm not going to be able to take out the Conquerors. I have 0 boss damage because I don't have a snake pit. When I got a snake pit, that helped a lot. But I was like, I think I really need to go low life and then go do like all the first bosses, because I thought that was the solution. I went to bed because a lot of those things like void batteries, shavs, etc., they're harder to farm myself, but we have 600 people and a lot of people were trying to help me farm stuff. It's like you have like the delvers, the heisters, the bossers are generally like fed. We focus people, feed them so that they can do things. I think like a lot of the supports ended up getting fed an insane amount, so we had some very strong supports. Comes in later because I had somehow forgot. I've played SSF for too long. I forgot that whereabouts and supports exist. But that aside, I went to bed and I was like, maybe there'll be stuff ready when I wake up. And there was. There was a void battery and very quickly a second void battery, a 6-inch shavs, and the rest of the gear was pretty mediocre, but I was like, okay, this should solve all the issues. I switch and I'm like, oh no. I felt so much pressure and stress and I felt awful because I felt very prioritized. I know a lot of people were like, okay, this will get a lot of the first bosses down. And I was like, yeah, there's just no damage. And I messaged Daniel, whose build had stolen, and I was like, shouldn't this be better? And he was like, no, like this build until you have like really, really good gear it's rough. And I was just trying to work on the gear and stuff, but then somebody suggested, what about aura bots? And that made a very big difference. I had just completely forgotten about it. Hornet got in my group, and then Railer message was like, do you need a curse bot as well? And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Let's slam it up. And they got more and more fed on gear. They ended up getting like pretty crazy gear towards the end. I ended up getting really good gear, and we were just blasting things like Shaper Guardians, Elder, Shaper. Everything was going down very, very fast. And then we started doing things like actual bosses. Very interesting to map with multiple people, or rather boss with multiple people. Two-man Maven was an experience. It was actually really fun and really enjoyable, very different, and they were definitely not used to it as well, and they played on 110 ping, but they did really well. Very, very fun. We ended up failing 4 fears, which we later managed to solve by outgearing it and just, improving. We learned something new every time, and really, really fun experience. So Hornet and Railer really saved the league for me, because then we were able to do what I was supposed to. We were able to like spam farm bosses, carry everybody on our team, and farm so much gear for our team. Like we managed to farm loads of lethal prides, loads of like Awakener, Uber Elder gear, Watcher's Eyes for everybody. I found an insane Watcher's Eye, which we'll talk about in the build video, but like just insane. It was really, really fun. I definitely think I would prefer being a build that comes online faster and maybe necessarily doesn't even scale that well, that I would like be very important early and less important later, or like focus on other things later. But I think that's what I learned the most going forward. It's very important to have somebody that extremely early with little help, maybe even in a tabula, something like Assassin Blade Blast, right? That I would have been like, say I did have Assassin Blade Blast from last patch, that's something I would have been very comfortable with pushing, like Awakener 9, Maven, Uber Elder, everything on day 1. Because, or like Toxic Rain even. Honestly, terrible mistake on my part. And I feel very bad about it because I really feel like I let a lot of people down. Because I consider myself a very good bosser. And I was hoping to deliver a lot of the firsts, and we didn't. So I'm pretty sad about that. But I had a lot of fun. It was really, really good. This is such a cool idea for an event. And I really like pushing harder in other people's events than my own. There's like some sort of weird mental block for me. I do push fairly hard in the gauntlet, and I am regularly top 3 or 5. But there's definitely some sort of like annoying, nagging feeling like people are going to find it weird if I win my own event. Don't actually think I can, because it's so much competition right now, and I'm definitely a little washed up, but still, it doesn't help for sure. But yeah, I really enjoy it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching, and I did try to go pretty hard, and met so many cool people. And there's people like Patches and Purin that like helped us out, like organized our team with like helping with gear, crafting, etc. And just really, really cool team experience. And I really, from talking to everybody felt like they mattered, even if they were in white maps, yellow maps. I feel like most people felt like they mattered, which I think is really cool, because that's not like the same as other events where it's very like solo focused. And I really like the group focused events, and kind of makes me want to do some sort of like, especially I really think there's a lot of room for a duo event in Path of Exile. It can be hard to find people to play with. So the larger the groups, the harder. But a duo event sounds like it would be a lot of fun. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about it and some of how I felt. I honestly can't wait to do the next one. It was very different for me to play softcore. I wouldn't say I enjoyed playing softcore. I would have definitely enjoyed the event a lot more on hardcore. Just the way I prefer playing. And for those that want to call it logout core, I still haven't logged out this league. Actually, I did a lot in softcore, but I haven't logged out on hardcore. I felt like I was doing this in spite of it being softcore. A lot of people asked me like, Ziz, do you love playing softcore now? Are you going to switch to softcore? Absolutely not. I really do prefer the joy of dying. I don't know, the risk, I guess. That's just for me. And again, the main important thing here is to have fun. Do what's fun for you. Like, I don't want to shit on people that play softcore. I just don't love it myself. But I had an incredible fun amount visiting softcore here. It's like a holiday, you could call it. It was very, very fun. And thanks to everybody that was participating in the league, even the druids and the mercenaries. It was really, really fun. I hope everybody enjoyed it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. But more importantly, try to die a lot less than I do.